No.
Recording? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, we'll, commence our road and bridge meeting for 23rd of Will County. Mr. Walker's present in person. Online with teams. Take it away, Lance.
Okay, so today is a discussion item. We have a technical memorandum from Horrocks Engineering to go over. And the technical memorandum is about the 49th North project and specifically about the bridge across Sand Creek
Yes.
and the gas main that's underneath that. So we've got Drew Meffin here from Horrocks Engineering if there's specific questions about it. But the reason it's coming kind of before the commissioners is we've got two options outlined here. And one of them is basically saying we're gonna tell the gas line that they have to move this gas line. The other option is that the gas line, if it stays there, is going to be underneath the bridge and in part of the footing. And so I wanted to give the commissioners this information. Typically, what we've done in the past is make these utilities move. And that is probably my recommendation is to tell Intermountain Gas that they have to move their facility. They may not want to hear that from just me. They may need to hear it from the commissioners directly. It's like, no, we need Intermountain Gas to move this 16-inch high pressure gas main to be out of the footings. So I wanted to give this information to you and go through what is here and give you a chance to look at it and see if you concur with my recommendation and what the alternatives are.
I know of the late project, wait for them to move a 16-inch high pressure gas main that supplies the city's new surge generation facility.
So we have in place a method that it won't delay the project that much. But that's why I asked Drew to come too, is right now, in order to not move it, I think is going to take some additional time for the plans and additional cost, and I don't know what those are.
Yeah, Chairman, Commissioners, I could speak towards some of the.
Your
Oh,
address
Drew
for the
Meffin.
record, thanks.
Yes, Drew Meffin with Horrocks Engineering, Project Manager for 49th Road Project in Bonneville County. And I can speak towards kind of some of those items as far as leaving the gas line in place. So the option to leave it in place or to relocate it. If the preferred option is to relocate the gas line, they can go in during non-irrigation season. They're at the Sand Creek canal. Well, it's kind of a canal or creek, but the drainage area. And they can stub in the new line just to the north. And then when it's an off peak, which is just there shortly at the end of winter, they can then make the transfer. So there's no delay in the project. It's just a coordination that they have to do with their peak season and off peak, that they can and switch it over to the relocated line. But the delays come in to effect if they are not willing to do that option. As we investigated where the gas line was, we took a pothole back truck, found where that line was to kind of check things out. Intermountain Gas did that at their expense, and so this is where we found that there was just a slight conflict in one of the abutment walls on the east side. There are things that we could do to ensure that that stays in place, but it has added risk. There's risk on the contractor's part to ensure that he doesn't hit the line, and then there's risk where the bridge sits if there's any settlement. So that's kind of where we stand. That I think that the preferred option would be to have them relocate, but we anticipate that they will push back. And that's where some of the delays and quite frankly, a lot of the discussion and work on Horrocks' part to coordinate, trying to get the gas company to kind of come along with us there. So as we presented this to Lance and David, it's come to our attention that maybe we need a little bit more. But as far as Horrocks asking them to do it, I think this needs to come from the county to a little help to coordinate with the gas line and help them.
So I understand really clearly you're confident that they could move it and have the stuff in place during this no water season.
Yeah.
To not push us back into the next water season for completion of the bridge.
Correct.
And if they sign off on leaving in place and liability involved in doing that and all the additional costs, which it's their line,
Right.
we didn't, I'm not sure how we didn't know there was a 16-inch gas main running across in the middle of a project. Seems like that's the kind of thing Dave Line identifies.
Yeah.
We knew it was there.
Yeah. We knew it was there. We knew it was, initially we asked them to move because the bridge was there. We didn't know that they were hoping that it was deep enough that we didn't conflict with any of the bridge abutments. So that's why they went, when the canal was dry, and went and potholed down the line. And as we've put it together in our engineering software, it does show there would be a slight conflict where, anyway, so that's where we said, okay, it is conflict, please move. And they're saying, no, we're willing to take that risk. We want to leave it in place.
And it's not just the risk, it's the additional cost that it costs us to make whatever changes we have to, right?
Yes.
And we need to make sure that those presented costs are high enough that we don't end up with risk because we didn't guess high enough on what the costs were, right?
I believe that,
And with that, it all goes down into the next season. If we leave it there, or can we get it done this year, either way? I just want to know which things are things that
yeah,
are.
Correct me if I'm wrong, so the design currently, assumes that the gas line is moving.
yes,
If it doesn't move, then there's gonna be additional engineering things to do with the bridge. Do you have an idea what, a rough idea what those things would be, come to,
yeah, that's a great question.
and timeline as well?
There's, as far as the engineering related wise, there's some things that we do with the abutment wall to kind of cut around it. So there's not a whole lot there. It's more on, we believe, on the contractors, and he will have to take extra time and extra precautions to avoid that gas line and make sure that his equipment there is not going to damage it. So the engineering costs are pretty minimal, but we foresee the big impact of cost coming to the project through the contractor's bid. You know, they're probably added time to the schedule a little bit too, just the work is a little slower to avoid stuff, so.
I mean, I personally don't even really like the idea of having a line in the cement footing. Because
It's
what,
a reinforced soil foundation footing.
burrito wrap.
so it's not in cement,
It's not,
but so if they needed to come in and fix that,
It would be really,
is there any possibility of them doing that? Would they just bypass it then?
Yes. What we've seen in the past, I can't speak towards Intermountain Gas, but what we've seen in the past is that they would abandon that section and relocate at that time.
I think they should just relocate it now then. I don't see any reason to put it there if they know at some point that's gonna be what has to happen anyways.
so. Okay, lead worded letter from us requiring this to go with what you're doing. Is that what you're asking for?
that is what we're asking essentially is an action item next week. Because it's not on the agenda for an action item today, but it would be an action item to write a letter basically saying, yes, we want Intermountain Gas to move. And we don't think that that letter coming from Horrocks is going to have enough behind it to get them to move, nor do I think that hearing it from me is going to get Intermountain Gas to move.
And so what happens if we send a letter saying you gotta move this, and it's gotta be done by this date, and they don't?
Right. And it affects the
Is,
project.
well, it affects the project and it affects 40,000 people that line supplies gas to during the first part of the winter, which will no doubt be the end of January when the temperatures decide winter's actually,
But again, I think that Intermountain Gas can put the bypass line around the outside of the bridge during that cold weather and leave it there and then switch over to it. We've made plans already within the engineering plans to have a bypass, and the water during irrigation system is gonna still be in the channel, but it's gonna be narrowed in the channel and allow us to build this bridge during irrigation season. It does add some costs, it does add some other complications to it, but we've already made plans to do that.
What are some of
Normally-
what are some of the worst case, scenarios that we have? If they leave it, there's a potential for failure or something if it's in there.
Yeah, it would be a failure of that line. And due to possibly the settlement of the bridge by a little bit. And so over 40,000 people could be out of natural gas.
And then it'd be an emergency.
Yeah,
Or somebody hits it during construction. Not to say we don't have some good construction experts, I just,
Yeah.
things like that happen all the time.
Yeah, those are the risks that present themselves. They'd have to take extra caution, work around that gas line and, Intermountain Gas, they feel confident that they'll have a representative out there to monitor it, but again, the risk comes down to the county. Since it's their project, so. So some of the things that we've seen before, like on ITV projects, they have a transportation board. The board issues a board order for that utility to relocate. I see this being similar, where the commissioners would request that the utility company, relocate their line. They are there by, as Lance said, by permission. And that I failed to see kind of their basis of entitlement to stay there where they're at, just because there is no permit that they've applied for. It is county easement or right of way. David, I don't remember now if some of it's an easement or right of way, or if it's fee.
It's both.
It's kind of a mix, yeah.
I'm not sure exactly right there. which
Right.
is-
Yeah. Well, it's gonna cost them less than it does the power company to move for a mile high tension lines.
Yeah. Other utilities, such as Rocky Mountain Power, they understand that they're in conflict, they're gonna move the entire stretch of their high voltage power line to the north. Falls water,
Bald water is moving, and BSD is replacing lines. All the other utilities understand it, and Intermountain Gas, I think, understands too. They moved plenty of their facilities within our roads in past projects.
yeah,
All right, well, we'll, put together.
Draft some of the beginnings of that Lance, and then send me just kind of the technical information, and I can fine tune it, put it on their letterhead.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Yes.
I did have one, further maybe comment. I know, Lance, we were looking at there's a state statute, I can't remember, it's 430 dash 31, I'll have to look it up. I think you have, but it talks and discusses about infrastructure projects, and having the utility companies, move if they receive a board order. I would maybe see if there's any legal counsel that could help interpret that state statute if it applies to the county. I'm not sure, but
That's them today.
that could be a mechanism.
Can you send me what it is?
I'll send it to you, yeah.
Yeah. Scottsville from the state of West America.
Yeah.
West of CB3, CS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think anything that we can put in that letter that will help to compel them to do that is going to be valuable.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Thank you. That was useful.
That was the only suggestion item that I had on my mind. So,
Okay, anybody online? No. Carl, anything else, Carl?
No, sir.
Stop the recording and meeting. Gotta get it to big voice when you do that.
So,
So just make sure it says as ordered by the Great Oz.